So somebody comes to you
Yes.
and they're like, okay, I want to start a small business.
Yes.
What would you tell them?
I would probably start by trying to talk them out of it.
Really?
I would. I want to hear their fight. If you can't show me you have a fight for it in the first 5 minutes of talking, you will not succeed. You will not make it.
Prove to me you want to do it.
We're Sahara and Michaela, co-founders of Refine Marketing.
From corporate 9-to-5s to building and scaling multiple million-dollar companies in less than 5 years, we're not afraid to get into the nitty-gritty.
Giving you a raw and real look at what it takes to build and sustain a business.
This is Rise and Refine.
Welcome back. We're excited. Yes.
Yes.
It feels more like official too because we have, if y'all could just see, well, we'll post like clips of all the cameras and the cords. There's a lot, right? It feels kind of crazy. Yes. But we're excited because today we're going to have a lovely conversation with Erica. Do you want to introduce yourself and tell everyone about you?
Yes, so my name is Erica Hardesty. I'm telling you guys, you do know me. I'm Erica. So nice to meet y'all. I own Noëllas Flowers, which is a Parisian-inspired floral shop in Huntsville, Alabama. And then I own the Parisian, which is a Parisian-inspired event space. Clearly, there's a theme here.
Yes.
Very much a theme.
Love all things French, Parisian. Wow, chef's
Yes.
kiss. And then I just launched With Love by Noëlla, which is how I had the privilege. I've known you, Sarah,
Yes,
for a
yes.
while, but Michaela, getting
Yes.
to meet you. They did all of our branding, our website. It's amazing. And we are shipping flowers nationwide. So
That's so exciting. How does it feel now that it's like officially launched?
such a sigh of relief.
Yes.
You know when you work so hard on something and you're like, well, dear God, I hope this works.
Yes.
It's our podcast.
Yes, this podcast.
We're putting a lot of money into this.
Yes.
I'm like sweating. So I feel like I finally had my first good night of sleep last night. So I was
Good.
like, flowers are getting delivered. They're alive, which is such a
Yes.
success.
Yes. Because that's a whole process in and of itself. Because, I mean, when you sent us our, like, little thank you boxes, which were beautiful, literally
they're
teared
so
up.
pretty.
I screeched when the delivery man dropped it off. And so you had a whole system to keep the stems nice and moist and retaining water in order for them to be shipped. So I'm sure there's, like, a whole science behind it that people don't even realize.
Talk about it, like shipping something fresh like that. Like, what's the process?
It's funny y'all are saying that. So really the girl overseeing all the things with Love by Noëlla is Sophie. So she's been my girl from the very beginning. She's amazing. She just came on full-time salaried employee with Love, which is a huge step.
Yeah.
But I was telling her, I was like, we just started a business where it doesn't matter how prepared you are, it is chaos every day because you're working with a fresh item.
Yeah.
So you
Yeah.
can't prep days in advance.
Yeah.
It is like you wake up and you have 50 or however many orders that you have to fulfill. And
you got to get them out.
grind it out and get it done by 2 p.m. Because it's all overnight expedited shipping. It's kind of wild, but we did a ton of research and we really feel confident about our systems that we have in place for getting them there fresh. And so far, all the reviews have been amazing, which is exciting.
That's so exciting.
That's awesome.
So talk about, like, let's go back. Like, when you first had the flower truck, I want to start there. Like, talk about why you started the flower truck and kind of that first year in the business.
Man, that feels like 30 years ago, and I'm not even 30 years old.
How long ago was it?
It was, let's see, we're going into our 4th year. So we're about to hit our 4th year. So I was a full-time social worker for 3 years, worked in the foster care agency. To make a very long story short, my husband and I started a nonprofit helping youth who are transitioning out of foster care into independent living.
Which is amazing in and of itself.
Thank you. It's been such a eye-opening journey and experience, very humbling.
Yeah.
But we're so grateful to be a small part in it. But we wanted a way to pour back into the nonprofit. And as much as I would love to say social work pays all the bills, it does not. But I was doing that and then decided on weekends we were going to start a flower truck and all the proceeds would go towards the nonprofit.
Okay, that's important. Let's pause there because realistic and small business, like you started out on the weekends. It's not like you woke up, got to quit your job, go into it full time. Like you had to like work and start weekends.
Y'all, so we had no money. And my husband and I, we looked to see how much it would cost to just purchase a like Ford Econoline, which is what we were looking at, purchase one already done.
Yeah.
And running, and get someone else to build out the whole back of it because it had the flowers in it.
Yeah.
Way out of our budget. So we would go there after I got off work and David got off work. We would go to a shop at like 6 p.m., stay there till midnight for literally like 4 months building out the truck ourselves.
Holy cow. How much money did you save? If you don't mind sharing, how much money did you save by just doing the grunt work, grinding it out, doing it yourself?
We actually probably ended up out more money than we would have just paying out somebody to do it.
Are you kidding?
There we go.
Okay.
That's real. That's good to know.
Yeah.
Sometimes we make business decisions like that, and we don't realize till we're already doing something that, oh, we should have maybe done it this way.
Anyways, we ended up just throwing it on the curb. Couldn't even hardly. No, we did sell it to a young kid that wanted to have a fun weekend project with his dad, and we still keep up with him. And he has restored it far better than we ever could have. And bought another one that was a little more put together and redid it. And it's just, the reason it ended up being more is because it was trial and error. We would do something on it, it was wrong engine, whatever it may be. But we finally made it. We ended up spending about $40,000.
Holy cow.
Into the truck. This was never something we were thinking about doing before. Ever. In my mind, I was like, I'm going to be a social worker forever. I love this. And I really did love it.
Yeah.
But the truck, long story short, took off, which was the greatest blessing ever.
Why do you think it took off?
I truly believe, first of all, whenever there's a mission behind something, I think people are immediately attracted to it, just because it feels good to have an impact with yourself. And so from the very beginning, we advertised that all the proceeds were going back to Make It Matter, which is the name of the nonprofit. But I also think, flower trucks, they're so fun. At the time, they were really big and trending like crazy. Still are. But it was like a newer thing that was kind of coming into play.
And y'all were on the front of that wave too. Before it was really Pinterest heavy style content.
Yes, it was, and especially in Huntsville. There was one, it was actually 1818 Farms, which we love. They had a little blue pickup truck. And wasn't crazy built out, but they had flowers. And then they, I think, just kind of stopped for a while. They started pursuing other things with their farm. And so we just kind of took it and ran with it. So they are the OG flower truck of Huntsville. We stepped in and we're the OG French inspired.
So you started weekends.
Yep.
It took off.
We started having a lot of businesses ask us to come pop up during the weeks for their grand openings, things like that. Where I was having to take off PTO, my vacation time, to go do those events.
To not go on vacation.
You
made that sacrifice.
Yes, and I needed.
I'm sure.
My husband and I both did, but we were just grinding it out, and that's what you do. You literally just hustle, and you grind it out, and it's exhausting. It is absolutely exhausting.
So what was your mindset then during that time to be like, okay, you know what? Maybe it was a conversation that you had with your husband of, we're doing this, we're going all in, we're going to give it our best year or best 2 years. What did that look like for y'all?
The way it happened so fast.
Okay.
It hardly gave us time to sit down and talk about it. Now, there were many nights where I would cry and just be like, I feel so overwhelmed because I'm carrying the weight of a job that, first and foremost, they're paying me to do it. And so I have the responsibility to do it, and I want to do it to the best of my ability. Secondly, there are kids' lives at the end of it. So this is not an area where I can slack a little bit to pick up my business and make it work. These kids are literally hoping and praying that we're finding them foster parents, so they're not sitting in the offices, So there was a lot of just weight to carry with that, but I also knew with our nonprofit, the change that we could make if we really leaned in and were able to save up funds through the flower truck would be huge. During the whole time of the flower truck, we were about 3 months in, and Stokehouse reached out to us.
Already 3 months in. I didn't know it was that soon.
We signed the lease 4 months into the flower truck.
Oh my God. I didn't realize that Stovehouse reached out. And so for those listening, Stovehouse is like a
Development
indoor,
with,
outdoor
development.
that has shops, restaurants, workout studios, just tons of little areas, event spaces. And so it's this huge new development that came into Huntsville that completely altered, I feel like, the landscape of Huntsville to provide more opportunity for small businesses to come in.
Sure. And to kind of make it make sense, we had reached out to them about just bringing the flower truck and randomly popping up. They have a green space with food. Didn't even know this existed back here. Gaslight Alley. And they just said, yes, we can definitely do something with the truck. And that was kind of the way we left it. I never ended up setting up the truck. And then the truck, we just continued to do our thing. And Jonathan, who's over, he's the operations guy here, reached out and was like, hey, there is a way you could be here all the time. And it not just be the truck. And so we came and toured. And when I told my husband about it, he's like, he is the reason we've done so well. Sure. Other than the Lord, David Hardesty is where we are, because he, from the very beginning, the moment I met him, he always just said, he's like, I never want to be the reason your dreams are stifled. But let's just go and let's. I'm so obsessed with him. And he has sacrificed so much to see this come to reality. So you never really see his face, but he's like the biggest part of all of it.
Yeah, that was one of the questions we had for you, was like, what is it like? How much is your spouse, David, involved in it? And what does that look like?
Yeah, he built out this whole space. So the flower shop, he built out.
I did not know that.
Everything you see, David did. He did the tiles on the floors. There's a few you might try.
Man's got style.
He does. This is impressive.
Yeah, he did incredible. Now, when we opened the Parisian, we, at that point, were able to pay somebody else.
He's like, I can't do this again.
But that was the only reason we were able to, because we had taken out loans for the business with the flower truck, the store. And we had gotten all of our savings poured right on into it. So we were pretty topped out. And so it was kind of like, okay, if we're going to do this, it's us, and it's a risk. But the reward on the other side could be so big. And I worked the store and worked my other job for a few months. And I was able to work remote from here. So I was the sole employee for Noëllas, while also being a foster parent recruiter for the season.
Holy cow.
Which was crazy.
So you really didn't step away from your full-time job until how many months in?
We had the truck for 3 months, and the build-out was 6 months. So about 9 to 12 months.
So that first year with Noëllas, did Noëllas itself make money the first year?
Heck no.
Thank you for saying that.
No, it did not.
Yes, because most people think you make so much money.
No.
Talk about it. What does that look like?
You have to think about it. You're like, maybe not for everybody. For us, we were a young couple starting off. So we had small business loans that we were paying off. We had I was going through a lot of different health things at the time. So we had a ton of medical bills we were paying for.
Wow.
And then, there was just a lot of moving pieces. So no, we did not see profit really for the first 2 years. Going into the third year, we started to see it, and it was like the glimmer of hope. And let me say that when I say we started to see it, it wasn't like millions coming in, not at all. It was small, but for me, it was everything, because I was like, oh my gosh, it's working.
All the first 2 years I put in, it's working.
But also, like, the dream that was placed on your heart to do this for the bigger mission, for something that you have been called to do, seeing that little glimmer. What, just expound on that just a little bit. Like, what did that feel like for you, for your husband, for this dream that you've created, but also now that you have a daughter too?
I think for me, it just, I don't know, you pour your heart and soul into something. And for me and my husband, we are believers in the Lord. And the whole process, to be so honest, I was just like, God, what the heck are you doing? Like, that's just my like, what are you doing? What is this? Like, you're opening doors, and I'm trying to be faithful and walk through them. And I am excited, but I'm also like, my knees are shaking, because
you're giving up everything that you've had.
Everything. All my college experience, and I love social work. I do. I love getting to help people, but I just kept hearing him say it and just speak to my heart of like, you just have to trust that the way you're going to be able to help people when you start taking these steps and see the other side of it is so much greater.
I think that's so real though, because I don't care how long anyone's been in business. I mean, I've been in sales for 10 years. I've had my businesses for 4+ years. And I still, to this day, money can be flowing in. Things can be fine. I still sometimes wake up. I'm like, oh my God.
Yes.
Like, what am I doing?
Literally, and you just, I mean, I hate to say it this way, but it's just the truth. You fake it till you make
Yeah.
it. Like, you literally
have to.
just fake it. And I had no history in flowers, y'all.
Yeah.
And my first time going to the flower farm, Sweet Dina is a huge reason we've been so successful at the Flowering Ranch. I went to her farm. I literally just drove up one day and was like, hi, can I buy flowers from your farm? Like, I will cut them myself.
Yeah.
Like, I just want fresh local flowers to support another local business.
Right.
And she was like, okay, sure.
So this was her personal flower farm.
Yes.
And you just kind of pulled
Yes.
And just ask.
We were walking through the farm, and I did not know the name, not of one flower, y'all. And so she was like, do you need help? Like, to know? And I was like, so here's the deal. Like, I have an actual business. I am a florist. I need to know how to be a florist.
I'm a florist and I've never worked with flowers before.
But my degree is in social work, and quite honestly, this is my first time touching flowers. Oh my gosh. Y'all, wild.
Yep. Flower shop, gonna take on all this, gonna do it all at once. Don't know a lick about flowers, but here we are. Like, I'm trusting that this vision that's been placed in my life, this dream, whatever it is, like, I'm gonna just trust and have faith and go after it. That's amazing that you did that.
Thank you. And people, I think, look at it or hear that and they're like, that's irresponsible or that's crazy. And yeah, probably was. But
Yeah.
I was so confident. And I think that's such a huge thing with when you're starting a business, if you feel a call to do that. You have got to just hold your head high.
Yep.
And there's going to be the imposter syndrome that tries to sneak in. There's going to be comparison. There's all
Amen,
those
sister.
things. And you just have to keep your head up, hold your shoulders back, and be like, I have a place here too. And they all started from ground zero.
Yeah.
So why would I ever think that I can't do the same?
So you started it. Now, how many years has it been later?
We're in our 4th year. So we're 4 years in.
4 years
4
in. Okay.
years.
I've been telling her, I'm like, my favorite year of business is year 3.
Okay.
I've told you that.
Okay.
And year 4.
Yep.
Because I feel like year 3 is when it starts paying off.
Yep.
You're finally making a little bit of money where
Yep.
you can breathe. You're not sacrificing. You're still grinding, and the
Yes.
grind's always there, but you have some time back. But the 4th year, it's like starts kind of exploding a little
Yep.
bit. So 4 years in, and now you want to do another business, which is with love.
Yes.
So what made you want to do that?
Truly, from the beginning of starting the store, I knew this little like oasis that we have here of Noëllas.
Yeah.
I had friends and I had family in other cities and states, and I'm like, I just want you to experience it.
Yeah.
And I wanted to send my friends flowers. I couldn't. It was such a big undertaking to even think of the thought of shipping nationwide. But we had people all the time reaching out asking, when are you going to start shipping? When are you going to start shipping? And my response was, I would love to one day.
Yeah.
I don't know when that day would be. And that was kind of the beginning and the end of it. And I had my little girl, Charlie. Didn't realize I had bad postpartum depression because it didn't really have its typical depression feelings.
Yeah.
But now that I'm on the other side of it, I'm like, yeah, I definitely struggled for sure. But I remember she was probably 18 months old, so it's quite a long time.
Okay.
And it literally was like my brain like came back to like I felt myself.
I know
again.
what you're
Do
talking
you
about.
know?
Same thing to me. I
woke
felt like,
up.
yes. And you're like, wait, I feel like myself. Did you
Yes.
feel like you were watching yourself live from outside?
Yes.
Okay, I'm glad I'm not the only one.
No.
That's what I felt like. Like I could see myself pregnant
Yep.
and after I had a baby, and it was like I was watching myself like a movie. And
Yes.
it was the worst feeling until one day I woke up and felt better.
Yes. And it was like, truly, when I was in it, I didn't feel depressed. I didn't feel sad.
Yeah.
I just was like, I'm living.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're making this work. It's working. It's a
You just
lot,
live
but
day
it's
by
working.
day and- yeah.
My maternity leave, wouldn't recommend this, but it was 2 weeks. I did a
so
wedding.
for somebody, oh my gosh.
Oh my God.
Because I booked it before I knew I was pregnant. And I was it was me, myself, and I. So.
That's wow. Okay. So you're Wonder Woman too. Got it. But okay. So for somebody that hasn't had kids, dogs, that's what I have right now.
Close to it.
They're both very needy.
Okay, yep, close to it.
So for somebody that doesn't have kids, with having postpartum depression, not really realizing it, but that's not an easy topic to just spit out there.
Yeah.
And it's a very heavy topic. So how did that impact? And I know you didn't think that you had it or didn't know that you had it until you came out of it. But looking back, was there any way that it affected your business? Negative, positive, we can go whichever way with it. But what did that look like for you?
I would say, and again, I'm looking back on all of it now and I'm like, oh man. Ooh, that was a doozy. Love you all for sticking around through that. I honestly there would be like a month where I would push out like 10 different things because I'm like, we need to make money. Go. And I would have the energy to do it for like a month. Then the next month, radio silent. Nothing. Also, the things we were pushing out, looking back, was I proud of them? No, not really. And I'm okay to say that because that's the reality of it.
That's the reality of business. We push things out we don't love sometimes and we test things.
Yeah, I needed to pay
Definitely done
rent.
that.
So I was like, we're going to hunker down and do something that I don't maybe love, but I need to pay the bills and I need to pay my girls that are making work. I also was not by any means the best leader or boss for my girls that were working the store, and they had so much grace. My sister was working here before she started her makeup and hair business just to help me and serve. It was just the greatest blessing. And to have like your sister who loves you no matter what.
Who you trust. And
It was amazing. And then Sophie came along. So the two of them really all like they carried the store for quite some time. Until the lights came back on. Yeah. And I was like, okay, I feel myself again. I'm ready to dream again. I want to dream again.
Yeah.
To create new vision and ideas and steward this business well. So
it's kind of scary too. I tell everyone, they're like, why haven't you had a second kid yet? I'm like, because I just didn't have the best experience. Like, first being pregnant and afterwards. Like I'm like, I love my daughter so much. She's the best thing. I would do it all over again in a heartbeat. But to have to put myself through that as I'm a business owner, and I know exactly what you're saying, where it's like you felt like you weren't yourself and a light switched on. Like that's exactly how I felt. And it's the worst feeling because I don't like to not feel like myself and be in control of myself. And it was hard. And it took, I swear it took 2.5 years to get back to like me. And still to this day, still learning.
Yeah, it's wild.
Poor Michaela.
It's the best thing ever. I always want to tell people that. I'm like, I want to be real about it because it's wild. And I just didn't feel like I think people were as real as they could be. But I just like have this new appreciation for like, let's just be honest in like the really hard side of it. But also don't forget the like incredible, beautiful side of it that makes it so worth it to do again. But both of those things can exist together.
Yes,
no,
they can.
I mean, I've been talking to Sahara so much about it because she's like, you know, you're going to get a whole new appreciation when you become a mom for everything that your mom has done or like, you know, what I do for the business or you just look at other moms in a different light. And I've always dreamed of being a mom. And so I'm excited for that step, but I mean, with starting Refine, with having this podcast now, and we have so many other big plans for Refine too, that it's just like, okay, I know I'm building something for my family, a family legacy, breaking generational curses with this, but at the same time, it's like, okay, that's going to be a whole new challenge to juggle.
Oh yeah.
But it's amazing because it's thank you for being so transparent though with it, because I don't think that a lot of people talk about this side of business as moms and navigating motherhood and business.
So like what's day-to-day look like as a small business owner and being a mom? How do you balance that?
So this is where I think it's very different for different business owners and your priorities, what you want it to look like. For me, and when I say this, I want to also make sure to say there is not a right way or a wrong way to do it. This is just the way I felt the Lord asking me to do it. Yep, absolutely. I did not want to put her in daycare. I really wanted to be able to be full-time mom. and full-time business owner. So I am full-time mom. Every day she's with me all the time. If I have to run a quick errand to the store, Charlie girl is coming with me. If I'm at the shop packing up boxes, Charlie is with me. I have a nanny on Mondays come so I can just knock things out.
Yeah.
And then my parents actually live in the same neighborhood as us.
Oh,
so
what a blessing.
Literally, y'all,
Support
the
system.
greatest
Yes.
gift ever. So if like this morning, my mom and dad have her and they're eating it up. They love it.
So
but
sweet.
I would not survive without them.
Yeah.
It's a lot. Like
Yeah.
it is a lot. And I will be very transparent too in saying that I know there is a certain level that I can get Noëllas to. And it will probably stop there because of this decision.
Yeah.
You have a stopping point that you know of
Yeah.
with Noëllas, right? So now with Love is kind of that extension to where you can go past
Yep.
and actually reach more people, reach newer faces. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So with Love, in my mind, was kind of my, I don't want to say saving grace, because like Noëllas is doing fine and we're working and we have good systems in place where it's kind of like at a point where it's functioning without me having to touch it every second of the day. You know what I'm
Right, yeah.
saying? With Love is honestly, I hate to say an easy way to get our name out there even more, but it kind of is a little bit because
it's more of like a passive income plan.
is a
like you
yes.
you put the grunt work in for the first couple
Yep.
years and
Yep.
you have your team in place to build it out to where
then
at that point you're just
Yeah.
making passive income.
Yeah.
it gives us the opportunity if we ever, and this is not me saying this that I want to do this, but David and I have tossed around in the future franchising out Noëllas.
Yes.
In different cities, different states.
Yes.
With Love is going to give me the ability to decide if I want to do that or not. It is going to help me see.
Like a pathway for Noëllas
Yep,
as
it's a
whole.
pathway just to get us out there even more, but more importantly than all of that, to get the mission of the whole reason we started all of this out into the world, which is make it matter. So,
Right.
so yeah, I say that I have like a cap that I know Noëllas can hit. What I mean by that, it's not me saying this is where I'll stop. It's me saying this is where I'll stop with what I can handle.
Exactly.
You know what I
because you
mean?
made that choice to be a
Yep.
full-time mom.
Yep.
You want to be there for Charlie.
Yep.
You want to be that main consistent figure in her life. And so this is the decision.
Yep.
It's either I stop here with Noëllas or I figure out a backup plan, and that backup plan is kind of with Love.
Yeah. So it kind of feels nice because I'm like, I can make that decision. You know, if I get a few years down the road and I'm like, all right, I feel good. She's in school and let's take this
I think
to
it
the
changes
next.
like every day. What
It
we
does.
feel, right?
It
It's like we
does.
wake up and we're like, we want to do this and go
Yep.
for it. It's like sometimes
Yep.
we also want to take a step back.
Yeah.
It's just seasons of being a business owner
Yeah.
and mom.
I just trust his promises and trust his plan for our family,
Yeah.
whatever that looks like, big or taking a turn and doing something a little bit different.
Yeah,
Right.
1,000%.
Yeah.
So if you could go back, is there anything like you would do differently?
I think I would allow myself to slow down in all of it. And this is just my personality. Like I am such a go-getter. I'm like go go go. I love the chase. Okay, so the pioneering side of things. Oh my Lord, y'all! Like the with love stuff just fueled my fire again.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of times that like once Noëlla started getting settled, guess what? We somehow ended up opening the Parisian.
Yes. It's okay. I'm like that too. I
you
get
know
it.
what I mean? I got
Yes.
done chasing. Then the Parisian
Yes.
yes. We're good to go. With love.
Yes,
That sounds like a
what's
fun idea.
next?
So I told David after with love, I said, don't let me do anything else. Just tell me no.
Right.
Because he always, like, he's so supportive and he believes in it
Yeah.
that he's like, let's do it, girl. Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let it
And
breathe.
Let it breathe.
Let what we work on
Yep.
settle,
Yep.
not try to add a lot of change all of
do
a
it all in
sudden.
excellence.
Yes.
Because that I never want to add something else and then not be able to do things with excellence. That's
Yes.
so important to
Yeah.
me. The thing that sets Noëllas apart, in my opinion, is just the excellence
Yeah.
and the quality when it comes to the bouquets and the packaging and all of those
Yeah.
things. Like that's what sets us apart.
Yeah.
It's an experience. It's not just a quick come in and buy something. Like you walk away with a feeling of just happiness and joy, and we want to make sure we steward that well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
that's
cool.
beautiful.
Yeah.
And so I think that's such an important part to touch on, though, is the fact that you want to remain planted where your feet are, right?
Yep.
And like just be able to take in those moments, slow down, reflect, and be like, oh my gosh, thank you so much for everything that you have blessed me with, for giving me the opportunity to be here. Like, how and like, one, why? Maybe why is this all here? How can I expound on this? Like, how can I help my community that's right here in Huntsville? But also, what is the purpose of With Love? Like, how is that supposed to transcend over the next couple of years, decades? What does that actually look like? And so I think it's so important. Yes, I feel like in entrepreneurs, our minds are just hustle and bustle.
Yes, they never stop
doing the next thing.
They never stop going.
Yes, we plan like 4 different new things that we want to roll out in 2025.
Yeah, you give us an hour in a room, we will give you a 5-page like project list.
It's so
true.
dangerous.
It
But
is
at the same time, it's like, okay, it's so good to take a second and be like, let's just reflect.
Yeah.
Let's just be where our feet are planted and be grateful for everything that we've been given and being given the opportunity to steward it all. So I think that that's beautiful that you do want to take that time to slow down, because it is so important.
I would agree with that too.
And it's not easy. Like, it takes I know, like, give it 6 months and I'm going to be like,
you start getting that itch again.
yes,
Yes.
it's an
Yes.
itch. Oh, it drives me nuts, y'all.
It's like the travel
It
itch.
is.
You know those little videos where it's
Yes.
like, you just want to like go travel to
Yeah.
the next place once you
Yes.
go abroad.
Yeah.
And that's what I feel like it is with entrepreneurs.
It is.
You're like, you're
It's so
constantly
bad.
wanting to do that
Because
next thing.
It is in my opinion, a God-given gift. Like, He's placed that inside of me. And I do feel like I have an ability to come up with a good idea and then bring it to fruition.
Implement
and and it work well.
Right.
And so, it's hard to get a great idea and be like, I'm going to just put a pin in that.
Yeah.
I know.
And maybe never touch it, ever. You know?
I can't do that.
And I have to be okay with that, because I also know that while, yes, this whole thing is a big priority in my life, my number one priority for myself is my family. So being the best wife I can be, because my husband deserves that. Being the best mom I can be, because my daughter deserves that.
Right.
And if I am putting everything that I have into this, then they just get the remains. And that's not okay for me.
Yeah.
Right.
1,000%.
Yeah.
So somebody comes to you
Yes.
and they're like, okay, I want to start a small business.
Yes.
What would you tell them? What's like the advice? Like, okay, here are the first 3 steps you need to take.
I would probably start by trying to talk them out of it.
We're good.
Really?
I would. Not because I actually don't want them to do it.
I know where you're going with this.
I would literally try to talk them out of it, because I want to hear
Then fight for
their
it.
fight.
Yes.
I want to hear
That's
their
so
fight.
good.
That's
You
good.
have to have the fight for
Yes.
it, because if you can't show me you have a fight for it in the first 5 minutes of talking, you will not succeed. You will not make
Prove
it.
to me you want to do it.
Prove to me,
Yes.
show me your passion, show me
Yes.
your drive, because, like, I don't know about for y'all. For me, 90% of the time, I'm having to pull out the fight.
Yes.
There's
Oh,
10%
100%.
Yes.
where it's like, ooh, I feel good.
Yeah, it's like everything's
Yeah.
going great.
Yes.
I can relax.
But 90% of the time is the fight of, oh my Lord, I forgot to file taxes this month. I didn't even know I had to file this
Yes.
tax. Like all
Yes.
these things that you don't know, and there is no handbook for it. Y'all should take that on and make a handbook for it or something. But there's just so many moving pieces, and if you don't have the fight and you don't have the grind, you will not make it. So you got to show me your fight, and then once you show me your fight, you've got to show me your plan.
Yeah.
Because if there is not vision there, you know, in the Bible, people will perish. Like, you've got to have vision. You kind of like a GPS. I heard someone say this the other day of like, when you put an address in your GPS, like there is a destination, but there's like 5 different routes you can take to get there. There's a lot.
And then all of a
different
sudden
ones
there's
you
a
can
wreck.
choose.
I love that.
And then all of a sudden there's a roadblock.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you're gonna get there.
Yeah.
And it's okay if it goes this way, that way, but you still have to have your destination set to know that you're gonna get there. You know, I think networking is a huge thing.
Yes.
When it comes to small businesses.
Yes.
Trust with the community is such
So big.
a huge thing.
Yes.
So before we ever started the store, when we had the flower truck, like, it wasn't my girls that were out there connecting with people. No, it was me every time.
Yeah, you were the one showing up
It was
and putting it in.
Because at the end of the day, it is not Sophie's flowers. It is not Caitlin's flowers. It is
Right.
Noëlla's flowers.
Yes.
I am she is me.
Yes.
I think being honest in my pursuit of this business, of just like letting people in on the front end of, hi, I'm Erica. I don't know what I'm doing,
Yeah.
but I have this passion and I have this dream. And I think that you have something that could help me get there. But I also don't want to just take from you. I think I have something that can help you too.
Yeah.
Yes.
And not making everything a business transaction when you're meeting with people, but making it
A relationship.
It has to be authentic.
Yes.
It has to be authentic.
But at the end of the day, it's like you have a community, you have a village around you, and it can be family, it can be friends, it can be that one person that you met in the airport that gave you the best piece of advice of your life. Like, those are your people, and at the that's who's going to ultimately make your dream happen, make that vision become your reality. And so I love that you just said that, because I think that is such a point to take home, is like, I humbled myself, I asked for help, and I just shared my vision, because people want to hear that. They want to see that real side.
Well, and it's like you are literally the only one that's going to get in your own way. I mean, that there is so much money out there that wants to
so
be
much
spent.
money.
Like, there is an endless amount, right?
Yes.
So,
Like, Selena Gomez just became a billionaire.
yes, I'm like, Selena, would you like it with Love Box? Would
Yes.
you?
Yeah. Do you need help with branding
Yes.
for anything?
Like, we will help you.
Yes.
But you're the only one. Like, if I go into every day thinking, this is my cute, small, little happy spot, then that's probably where it's going to stay.
Yeah,
But if
exactly.
I look at this and go, you know what? This is the flower shop version of Love Shack Fancy, and by golly, we're going to make it there.
Oh, I love that comparison.
Yep.
Yes.
That is brilliant.
Yeah, that's like in
Yes.
my head, I'm like,
Yeah.
we are the flower shop version of Love Shack
Yeah.
Fancy, and we are going to get to that spot.
Yeah.
And I don't know when, and I don't know how.
Right.
But you put
we're
it
gonna
in your
get there.
head, and you're
No
like,
doubt.
I can make this happen.
We'll be in New
Yeah.
York City, no doubt. We'll
Yeah.
be in California, no doubt.
And you're speaking that over your
Yes.
business,
Yes.
though. Like, you're speaking life over your business. You're not just having this capped mentality,
Yep.
right? And so talk about the fact that, like, at the beginning, you didn't foresee any of this happening, but your mind had to grow. Like, you
Yes.
personally had to grow. Maybe your confidence had to grow to what it is now, to where you had the ability to dream bigger.
Yep.
So what were you pouring into yourself? How were you growing your mindset? How are you growing your confidence?
Yeah, I think truly, like, obviously, number one, the Lord. I know that sounds cliche, but it's not for me. Like, it's
No, same,
like
sis.
it is absolutely the foundation
Yeah.
of everything.
Yeah.
We would not be here without the Lord, and I will always say that first, because I am literally a little ant on this little speck on the planet. He has gotten this to where it's at, and He's going to be the one that sees it to the next level. And then really surrounding myself, like, there's a saying that if you're the smartest person in the room, then you're not in the right room. Like,
1,000% love that saying.
right?
Yeah.
It's so good.
We
So
live by
all
it.
of our friends, I'm not kidding, are like 40s and 50s.
Yes.
Like, our
Yes.
friends
Yes.
are older.
Yes.
That's our
Yes.
friend group. And
Yeah.
at first I thought it was weird, and then I was like, you know what? No, because they are speaking into me, and they are modeling where I want to be. I mean,
Yes.
they're millionaires and on. Like,
Yeah.
and I'm like,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
you're
we're
putting
gonna get
yourself in a
there.
room with them, and you're
Yep.
humbling yourself by saying, I don't know it all.
Yep.
Let me learn.
And I'm not
It's so
comparing
important.
myself to them.
No.
But I'm looking at their patterns, because
Yeah.
patterns are a game changer. So I'm saying, what are they doing? What is their daily
Yeah.
life and choices look
Yeah.
like to get them to that point? Because
Yeah.
I wanted them model my life in that same way, so that one day this is my story too. Maybe sooner
Yeah.
than later.
Yeah.
Right.
But
1,000%.
I do not know it all.
Yeah.
At
Right.
all.
Well,
Yeah.
and there's another saying, my mentor says this to me all the time, of like, put yourself in a room with 5 people of your closest friends. Like, who are your closest friends? Show me
Yep.
your 5 closest friends, and I'm going to show you how successful you'll be.
Yes. Yep.
And that is so, so true.
Yep.
Like, you have to surround yourself with people, and it might be so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Like, but sorry, the friend that you've had in college who
Yep.
is a bum and who quit 3 jobs in a
Yep.
row, and like, they
Don't surround yourself by them.
no,
Nope.
like, you can still be friends with them. You can uplift them. You can encourage them and like be that person for them to lean on. But at the same time, like, you also have to set boundaries
Yep.
and understand that what you're putting into yourself now is who your future self is going to
Yes.
be.
It's true. And my very best friend, it's so funny. She'll often look at me and just be like, okay, you need to grow right here. And we're the same age, but she's very successful in what she's doing. And she'll just
That's
look
my
at me.
Sahara.
Yeah. She'll just look at me and be like, hey, you're doing this really well. And like, let's do this better.
Yeah.
Or like, how are you actually? You're telling me you're good.
Yeah.
I don't believe you because I know you enough to know that that's not the case. So let's take a step in the right direction. Can y'all hear? Are they going to hear this?
It's okay.
I don't
We'll
know.
make it
There's
work.
children screaming next door, so
We'll
if
make
you
it
can
work.
hear that.
Sorry. But it's just so, I used to, like, honestly, I was like, oh my goodness, she's going to ask me. But now I'm like, thank you.
Yeah, you want to hear it
Yes,
now because
thank
you're more
you.
open to it, probably.
Yes, I'm like,
Yes.
that helps me. And clearly it's working for you. So I hope it works for me too.
Yeah.
You know?
I think it takes us a while. I don't know if it's age or growth or what it is, but it took me a while to be able to hear like my thoughts from other people. It's kind of hard when someone says, oh, well, here's where you suck.
Yep. Are y'all
like, work on it.
firstborns?
Yes.
Yes.
Same.
Okay, that's so
It's a
funny that
first-
we're
I
all
think it's a
firstborns.
firstborn thing.
Okay, maybe it
Big
is.
Type A personalities.
Which
Yes.
so I'm not really a type A person.
Really?
Yeah, just for me, like the thought of letting someone down, specifically like my family, like kills me. Like the thought of it literally breaks my heart.
Yeah.
And so I think that when you hear from other people, like even when they're saying it
Yeah.
so kindly, I'm like,
Yeah.
so I'm not up to your standard of like what I should be. I'm so sorry. Like
Yeah.
it hurts
Yeah,
me.
it does. Yeah.
So I've obviously grown in time and gotten some thicker skin as a business owner.
Yeah.
It'll do that to you.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't love it.
Yeah. I think it's also, especially when it comes to business, when we all love what we're doing.
Yeah.
So it's not that we don't necessarily want to hear it. It's that because we have such a passion for what
Yeah.
we're doing, it hurts when
No, it
someone
does.
doesn't like something that we're doing for them.
Yep.
Whether we're
Yeah.
people pleaser or not. Like that's just what it comes down
Yep.
to is, well, we have a passion for this. So what do you mean you don't love it?
Excuse me.
I also think though, like be careful who you're listening to.
Yes.
Because if they do not have fruit on the tree, if
Yep.
they do not have, if they're talking about finances and they don't have their finances
Yeah.
in check, or if they're talking about relationships and they're twice divorced,
Yep.
why are you listening to them? Because they
Absolutely.
obviously do not have it figured
Yep.
out.
Yeah.
And so I do want to heed and say that of
Yes.
like, be careful who you're letting
Yep.
speak into your life, because sometimes it's just way worth it to be like, I
Yeah.
appreciate what you're saying, but respectfully, I'm just going to let this go in one
Yep.
ear and out
Yeah.
the
Out
other.
the
And like,
other.
I hear you. However,
Thank you. No,
thank you. No, thank you.
Yes.
And
Be
I
very
don't
careful.
know, do y'all feel like the older you've gotten and the more like into your business you've gotten, the smaller your circle is becoming?
Yeah.
My circle, y'all,
bad.
there's
Yes.
like 5 folks that
Yeah.
have stuck around.
Yes.
Because there's 5 people that understand
Yes.
Yes.
the life that
Yeah.
this is.
Yeah.
But also 5 people that are willing to still speak into me and pour
Yeah.
into me the way that I
Yes.
need them to.
Yeah,
So it's
1000%.
shrunk, but I've never felt closer in my relationships.
Yeah.
I would agree with that 100% for
Yeah.
sure. Okay. So let's get to the last question.
Okay.
Okay. So I want to end it with like, how did being a small business owner and starting a business change your life?
Oh boy. I mean, in every type of way. I think for me, it helps me recognize that my world can be what I want it to be. Like it gets to be what I want it to be. If I want to go on vacation on a random Tuesday with my friends, guess what? Or with my family, I can do that because
Yeah.
I make the rules.
Right.
To be able to be at home with my little girl when she's sick or when she starts ballet and has all of these different things, I get to be the one with her.
Yeah.
And she's going to remember that.
And she's
Yes.
Every
going to
single
remember
moment.
that.
Yes.
And she gets the opportunity to watch her mom, not perfectly by any means,
Yeah.
but watch her mom, start something small and create it to where it is now and where it's going to
Yeah.
continue to
Yeah.
go. During these formative years for her and during the early stages of motherhood, it is possible.
Yeah.
You can do it. It's very, very hard,
Yeah.
absolutely. But I didn't have to sacrifice all my dreams to bring on my greatest dream with
Yeah.
her. I'm able to do both. And it's such a gift.
Yeah. I love that so much. Thank
That's
you
beautiful.
for coming on and letting us like test this out on you, because you're our first like leaving the studio guest, and it's been so fun. I love that we got to do it in your beautiful shop. So for those who don't know,
Yes.
we are in her small
Flower
business,
shop.
her shop, and it's gorgeous. Like I just want to come work here.
Okay, to wrap this up tell them where they can find you on social media, website, all that kind of stuff.
Absolutely. So there's a few different spots. You can do Noëllas Flowers for Instagram or both With Love by Noëlla or Erica Hardesty.
Okay.
All the
amazing.
options. And then for the websites, noellasflowers.com or withlovebynnoella.com. If you really go to either, you will be able to get to the other. They're all kind of one
Connected,
and the same.
one and all the same.
Yes.
That's how we are too. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on the pod and being our first ever guest. You were amazing.
Thank you guys.
If y'all liked this episode, please leave us a review. Let us know your thoughts and tune in next Monday.